tax regime will look for the next 3 years. The growth of digital commerce has forced many countries to impose digital service tax measures on income derived in their tax jurisdictions. Kenya has also done the same. But following discussions with players in this sector, we have made a commitment to review this tax regime and align it with a two-pillar solution currently being developed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which is an inclusive framework. The framework will guide the taxation of digital commerce transactions going forward once the negotiations are complete. I know many people know what I'm talking about, and we have made this policy shift because we consulted and we listened, and we want to create a win-win partnership. One of the key challenges for business community has been the issue of tax, especially VAT on exported services. This tax not only renders us uncompetitive as a country, but it also inhibits investors seeking to make Kenya their regional or global services hub. Many companies are already operating out of Kenya and servicing regional markets. Following consultations again with stakeholders, VAT on exported services will be removed in the finance bill. Let me take that again. Maybe I would get some more applause. Following consultations with stakeholders, VAT on exported services will now be removed in the finance bill in the coming budget in June this year. The issue of tax refunds has remained a thorn in the flesh for many companies. Not local companies alone, even foreign companies and many corporates that work with us. The government of Kenya is making again a policy shift on this matter. And as a result, effective June this year, all verified tax refund claims will be payable within 6 months. I know that has been said somehow before. But let me say this additionally. If, for whatever reason, a refund is not made by the Kenya Revenue Authority within this period, the taxpayer can offset their claim against future tax liability without further application to the Kenya Revenue Authority. The statement I am making is that if it is okay for you to pay your tax in time, it must be okay for you to get your tax refund in time. And if we fail, for whatever reason, after you have paid your tax in time, I am saying, after 6 months, all verified tax refunds you can net off from what you are supposed to pay to the government of Kenya. That way, we will eliminate any possibility of tax refunds outstanding for more than 6 months. And I think that is, we have taken that policy position because I have had this challenge of tax refunds ever since I became part of government. The government of Kenya is keen to make Kenya the top innovation hub on the continent and attract new ideas, often executed by startup companies. However, I have received complaints that we impose what we call employee benefit tax on allocated shares to employees of startup companies, even before any value is realized on these shares. I'm proud to announce that the government of Kenya will exempt startup companies from paying taxes. The government of Kenya will exempt startup companies from paying taxes on such unrealized gains on employee allocated shares starting July 1 this year. I know I'm speaking to many Kenyan startups. I know I'm also speaking to many startups from everywhere in the world. It's only fair that we give these startups a chance to be by not imposing unnecessary restrictions, especially when initially they are not able to pay as much for their employees. And in exchange, they want to allocate some shares. It's not fair for anybody to be asked to pay tax on shares that you have been allocated before you sell the shares. I think you can only pay tax when you sell the shares. I am committed to make Kenya one of the most attractive places to do business. As you may know, Kenya has been ranked the third most attractive place to do business in Africa by World Bank under its ease of doing business scheme. We continue to build on this success story. We are also reviewing our special economic zones and export processing zones laws to remove impediments to attracting new local and foreign investments. The raft of amendments are under stakeholder consultations, and Moses Kuria will bear me witness, and we intend to have a new set of incentives by July 1 this year. The national ICT policy requires foreign ICT entities that set up in Kenya to have a 30% domestic equity. This position is untenable and has made it impossible for large corporations to invest in Kenya. As a result, we will review this position and remove the requirement of 30% equity to facilitate greater investment in the ICT sector. And additionally, our data protection law is aligned to support robust growth in data storage. I am sure that AWS have something to report. In fact, I was persuaded by a good gentleman from Amazon Web Services that it was impossible for Amazon to cede 30% equity to any entity they didn't have a business relationship with. And as a result, they were holding their investment in our country. I hope Amazon, now that I have kept my part of the bargain, now that I have kept my part of the bargain, I hope you keep yours. And it's not just about Amazon. It's about all other ICT companies that want to invest in our country. Kenya has one of the most developed financial services sector in the continent. We are ripe for the establishment of an international financial center in Nairobi to attract global financial players. To continue to reinforce this